An auteur in the most practical sense, but the least artistic one. The cameraman was little more than a janitor of light. He had not art to make, but a job to do, catching the action. The performers were mainly unemployed thespians tiding themselves over. Given the broad proportions of the theater scene of that era, and the movie's lurid reputation, it seems likely that only the most untalented or unlucky theater people would have ventured into cinema. At that, virtually none of them was identified by name or permitted to project the sort of original and recurring image that was later to establish, say, Clark Gable or Bette Davis or W.C. Fields. Nor was there anything like a producer in the best sense of the word, as a good witch who initiates and encourages an idealistic project. There was no need for producers of any kind, or for visionary directors, observant cameramen, or alluring stars, any more than there was need for such artisans in a paper box plant or a flour mill. When Griffith came to Biograph, movies were a product, movie-making a business like any other. Thus, a movie studio, first of all, was no more than a place of business, the factory. You're waiting for me to get on with it, to raise my curtain on the sexiness of Paramount, the crabby hustle of Warner Brothers, the paradoxical MGM glamour that can check both Joan Crawford and Greta Garbo into its grand hotel. You're waiting. Yes, okay. But I think we have to comprehend a little history to discern the possibilities in the studio system, to learn why studios that grew up in the same place and age developed so differently, each from each. Curtain going up, I promise you, very presently. Movie factories such as Biograph not only ran on assembly line procedures, but looked on any attempt to vary the results as absurd. Why propose some ideal of more fully delineated stories, more lyrical camera work, more naturalistic presentation? Once you find an efficient method of manufacturing paper boxes or milling flour, you don't think of ways to make the operation more complicated or expensive. You pursue your method, rigidly and indefinitely. A studio, then, is not only a place of business, but a theory of business economics, a belief in so much capital down yielding so much in receipt. A studio is a fixed budget. The possibility of maintaining a budget, however, was sabotaged by the movie public's enthusiasm for certain of the unnamed performers. This one with the toothy smile, that one with the brazen confidence, a gamin, a lad, a dire Contessa, a pleasingly fumbling hero. Something broke through the restrictions of the 1 and 2 reel stories, the veil of anonymity, the business as usual. Something wasn't usual, or rather was uniquely usual, the same only better, symbolic, culturally redemptive. Something was Florence Lawrence, Little Mary Pickford, Bronco Billy Anderson, Francis X. Bushman. But if you name your players, they'll start putting on airs and asking for raises. They won't feel like paper boxes anymore. So thought the patents men, the first bosses of the movies, named because of their monopolistic access to Thomas Edison's patents. However, their upstart challengers, the so-called independents, saw actors' popularity as a gambit in the battle for an open market. So feisty independent Carl Laemmle co-ops Biograph's Florence Lawrence, thus far billed only as the Biograph girl. Imagine the deal. Laemmle tells Lawrence, "We give you a raise, we give your husband a raise, we let you make whatever movies you want." Lawrence likes this. "And I got news for you. We're going to call you Florence Lawrence." "You don't have to call me Florence Lawrence," she replies. "I am Florence Lawrence." No, that was the point. Actors did have to be called, identified, made known. As the profits began to swell in direct response to these actors' films, as these actors pressed for a piece of the action, as the aggressive upstart movie makers outbid the established firms for these actors' services, the trim, one-size-fits-all production of movies expanded, treating stories of some detail, relaxing the narrative tempo, giving the key personalities more room. 2 reels good, 7 reels better. When the patents men lost their monopoly in the courts through crucial antitrust decisions in 1914 and 1915, the first era of silent film was over. Griffith, more than anyone, cut the path that the movies must take. The phenomenal success of The Birth of a Nation, 1915, disarmed Nickelodeon resistance to become the movie's first national achievement. The patents men, almost entirely upper-middle-class wasps, had outlawed initiative and directors and...
To keep listening to this audiobook for free, click the link in the description. It will take you to a free Audible trial where you can listen to this and many other books for free for 30 days.